I don't blame anybody that doesn't want to play this stinking game. It's rigged. I don't want to play a rigged game. Okay, I want to play on the up and up on a level playing field. Okay, but I insist on having progress. If I'm going to play this game, I want to see progress. I want to see things getting better for the least of men. I can't enjoy crap. And I talk about being spoiled and how ridiculous that would be to anybody that could see inside my personal finances. Oh my God, what an idiot. This guy's deluded. But I mean it with every fiber of my being. God knows I do. I hate it. I want to be able to enjoy luxurious things, the luxurious lifestyle perhaps. I just want to be free. I want to be financially free. I want to be free from the money masters of misery. And I'm willing that everybody be free from the money masters of misery. And that's the only way I see that we can fix this problem. That's it. That's the only way we can disempower Satan, make him irrelevant. That's the only way I know of. Okay, is progress, but they're not letting it happen. They're not letting us be set free. They're increasing our captivity. And just because you're among maybe the majority of people that are still profiting from the pyramid scheme, eventually it's going to hit you. It's got to. California's already been swallowed up in the pyramid scheme. Now a majority of the residents of California are renting. So when you talk about, like Alex Jones thinking it's good that, Drudge, he saw the report, he played it again. The report actually showed that it came from the Drudge report. What the hell is Matt Drudge thinking? I mean, these people are way smarter than me. In my estimation, I think they are. Okay, these people are brilliant. They're geniuses. But what's so befuddling to me is just that I know I'm right on this. This is like 2 plus 2, and it's like right there. It's all clear. It's unchanging, impossible to change. Mathematics, everybody would agree, that's being honest. Every mathematician would agree, yes, you're right. That cost of living inflation is bad. Housing prices going up translates to higher rents. That's the majority of California residents. Okay, so what do you think is going to happen to the rest of the country if this trend, if this pyramid scheme is allowed to profligate, is allowed to perpetuate itself? Okay, it's going to get bad. At what point will you say, okay, now it's gone too far, and now I'm going to stand up against high housing costs? You understand? I don't care if people have tastes of, mansions, and they've got all this opulent, idea for housing. That's fine. Speculate, flip, do what you want with all that kind of housing. I don't care. I don't have a dog in the fight there. But when it comes to the housing that's coveted by a young couple trying to get their first pad and slip into middle class status, okay, and have a sense of freedom and prosperity, a little slice of the pie, I object to manipulating those markets, very much so, for good cause. It's wrong. So, we've got to be very clear that high housing costs are bad. High anything, if it's an essential human need, it's bad. I don't care if gold goes to $1 billion an ounce. I don't care if Bitcoin goes to 10 billion an ounce, Bitcoin. I don't care about silver. I don't care about anything I don't need, okay? But when it comes to food, shelter, water, and energy needs, I care deeply, as we all should, us regular humans. I mean, what is God's point of view on this? I mean, are we being honest when we say this is somehow okay because capitalism is the best house in a bad neighborhood, so to speak? Extension of the metaphor. But no, because pseudo-capitalism is just as bad or worse than socialism. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, most socialists at least believe, and you got to give them credit for that and respect that is the egalitarian approach, is the Robin Hood thing. Take from the haves, give to the have-nots. But in all honesty, in all practicality, it doesn't work because we all know that we've got attorneys. Unless you're going to fire all the attorneys, how are you going to do that? They're here to stay. They can find loopholes. They can find ways for you to get away without paying all the taxes that the government says you ought to under the Robin Hood socialist principles. Okay, because that's really what it should come down to. I mean, in all logic, even if you were going to have this socialism, Wouldn't you do it where it made sense, where you say, well, look, these guys are taking way, way, way more than, these other guys. So leave the multi-billionaires alone when you find out who's really stealing the wealth, okay? Who's really stealing, who can really afford to pay the bills. Okay, they're in the shadows. Let's look at them. Okay, let's examine, let's take it out of their hide. And we're talking about the money masters of misery now. We're talking about the top dogs, the grand puppeteers, the money printers. That's who we're talking about here. And these people are psychopaths. They're madmen. And, I spend far too much time trying to understand madmen, so I don't recommend anybody try to understand madmen because it can drive you mad. And I don't want to be sucked into that. That's why I have a love thy enemy, approach to this, because it disempowers. I'm not going to fixate on evil people because they're insane. Their heads are swimming in satanic juices of destruction and misery and death and just all this funky stuff that I don't understand. Why anybody would want to, ponder and contemplate in that little paradigm of darkness. I'm just so far removed from it. I want to stay removed from it. Nevertheless, we have to get in their heads enough, like Jesus said, be ye as shrewd as serpents, as innocent as doves. So once you get a glimpse, you understand that getting a couple of steps ahead of these people is going to take God's help, that none of us are going to do it on our own. We need God's help. These people are powerful. They're manipulating us. So if we could get the top cats, those that can afford to pay all the bills to pay them, that'd be fine. But we've got to have checks and balances and oversight by we the people, not some of the people, all the people, the constitutional oversight. That's what we need to ever fix this thing. I mean, people can say, well, what are you doing on your own? You're just making those stupid videos nobody watches anyhow. I'm doing what I can. But even if I set out and say, okay, that's it. I'm going to come hell or high water. I'm going to get cutthroat. I'm going to make billions of dollars, and it's all going to the poor. It's all going to go to those, so because I care so much about the least of men. It still won't work. It'll be a drop in the bucket. The entire system is broken. It'd be like pouring gas into a broken gas tank. That's why I don't blame guys like Trump and anybody else that's super wealthy out there. They can't fix it on their own. We've got to fix the system. And if we're confused, if people with the intellectual prowess of Matt Drudge and Alex Jones can't, and yours truly, okay, cannot come together on this issue about cost of living and understand when it comes to essential human needs, I already listed them. There are very few that I just say hands off. You cannot manipulate markets. You cannot price fix. You cannot collude in special interest groups. Okay, you can't do this. I don't care if it's a government special interest group or a private special interest group. That's manipulating markets and fixing prices, okay? Regulating things on their terms, in other words. And I've done the research on my own. This is back over 10 years ago. We could house every homeless man, woman, and child in America, and we would still have 90+% of the vacant available for rent or purchase housing left over. Do you understand? Not including hotels and motels. So if you're going to stand before God and you're going to justify that statistic somehow, and the fact that things keep getting worse, homelessness is increasing, the problem keeps getting worse, even though we've got this vast oversupply that is undeniable, provable, and you're going to stand before God and you're going to somehow justify that, you understand? Your blood's not going to be, I don't care who I'm talking to. Okay, but listen, man, I'm serious about what I say. I practice what I preach. I'm willing to really, show me. Show me it won't work, is what I'm telling you. You can't prove me wrong. We've been going the opposite direction of freedom and prosperity and security since the assassination of JFK. Okay, there's no reason in the world why the Federal Reserve still exists, especially in light of the fact that they murdered Kennedy. He was abolishing the Federal Reserve. He was already circulating. He had already supplanted their currency. He was circulating silver certificates, silver notes. They look just like dollars. That better looking, actually. They look more genuine. They had that flavor of genuinity. He was an egalitarian. He was a good American. He believed in equality, not through bringing everybody down like communism or pseudo-socialism, any of these totalitarian, authoritarian, statist-run governments that are very draconian. We don't want it. They're very Orwellian. We don't want that crap. We want to be free. We want to work toward it. But we've been working the other direction. We've got to admit it. The whole system is a pyramid scheme. If it's not working for the majority of people, it ain't working. I don't care if it's not working for 1% of the people. It's not working. But I believe in freedom through prosperity. Okay, that's it. Money has to be a non-issue. We have to wean ourselves off of it and go out and be willing to still serve, to realize that we have an instinct to not sit around being decadent, self-serving slobs. That's it, man. That we have a desire, and you can't prove me wrong. You can't show me that the system wouldn't work that way. If we were all born with a silver spoon in our mouth, if we discovered and we were, in all honesty, we said, well, yeah, it makes sense that God would say, you're all born with a silver spoon in your mouth. That's how I'm going to level the playing field. That's it. So everything's free. Money is a non-issue. It doesn't exist any more than it exists for any other creature. We're free from the burden of this taxation from birth they call a euphemistically term a cost of living. That's been imposed on us by the money masters of misery. That's it. They jam policies down our throats that they create, but they don't live by. Do you understand? So it can't work. It wasn't intended to work. It's just intended to keep people in slavitude. That's it. And not even knowing it. That's the best thing in the world, is just keep them tricked, keep them deceived. See, they're smarter. They think they're the intellectuals. That's who they think they are. In their minds, they're super smart because they pull the wool over our eyes. They're taking us. I don't care who it is, but we're talking about a large segment of the population that's willing to say, hey, look, it's dog eat dog now. Yeah, I'm insecure, so I got to do what I got to do. And if it means screwing you before I get screwed, I'm going to do it. And that's exactly what's been going on. And it's really messed up, man. It's really messed up, and it really breaks God's heart. It breaks my heart, and it's killing me. I'm black and blue. You know, I thought I was looking at the sport coats. I thought I'd put on a sport coat this morning, which one I wanted to wear. And I got the blackest one I had. You know, I got one that's kind of a midnight blue. You can't even tell that it's not black. But, you know, in light of what's been happening in the world, man, I mean, this is messed up crap, man. I mean, we're in a lot of trouble. I mean, we're just, you know, it's just one terrorist attack after another. I mean, before we can forget about Vegas, we get, you know, Texas's biggest mass murder in history in a church, okay, by some psychopath. I mean, this is where we are, you know, in the 21st century. And what do you think God's thinking? You think it's a mystery? You think we don't know what he's thinking? I mean, you better get your acts together is what he's thinking. Because I'm telling you what, man, if I know that you know right from wrong and you're still choosing wrong, okay, it ain't going to go well, okay, because you are setting your example. We teach best by example, okay, so if you're not being honest, you're lying to yourself. God knows it. You've got no substance. It's like the 10 virgins with the oil in the lamp. They've got nothing. It's not going to last until the return of Christ, until, you know, you go out with pure hands. Even if you died today, at least you knew your hands were pure. You were willing that everybody on earth have the same things that you desire for yourself, okay, and your family, all those things. Be honest, be ruthlessly honest with yourself, just on that one question. All those things you desire for yourself and your family and extended family, okay, you must be willing that other people have, okay, and the harder it is for people to attain those things, if you're working against making it easier, you're working against the welfare of the common man, the regular person, the least of men. All those people, you're working against God's will, against Jesus Christ. Okay, so it's that simple. When it comes to essential human needs, the cost thereof, we need very strict oversight and checks and balances. That's it. And it should be we the people getting our way. I mean, we talk about democracy and how that's good, right? That's what voting is all about, right? You're supposed to get the majority and all that. We got, you know, Hillary saying that she won the popular vote and all this, but that's not been proven. In fact, they're doing everything they can to not show all the inconsistencies in the voting. I mean, look up Bev Harris, black box voting. See what she has to say. Fractional voting, illegal immigrants voting, dead people voting, I mean, it's pretty messed up. Just straight up vote rigging, vote flipping. You vote for one candidate, it flips. And Bev Harris is a Democrat. Okay, so it's bull, man. I mean, these people, yes, if they can steal an election, that's the ilk. They would, no problem. I mean, if they're going to murder you, look up Arkansas. That's the mentality and caliber of the people running things. Look how all these people, we got John McCain saying he knows the terrorists intimately, though he calls them freedom fighters, Al Qaeda. Give me a break. And the whole world sees this. This is on mainstream media. So we all know it. It's nothing that he can't equivocate on this issue. It's there before the whole world. So he stands by it. And then all these other politicians, you notice, and the mainstream media, and they want this guy like he's Christ or something.